All right, thank you all for joining us this afternoon. My name is Heidi. I'm a librarian with the Pikes Peak Library District. We're excited to have Lynn here. This session will focus on stress and anxiety management during the pandemic. You'll learn how to cope with stress and anxiety through the pandemic with Lynn from Colorado Spirit. So thanks so much for joining us, Lynn. Take it away.
Thank you. Thanks. Okay. Yes, I'm going to share my screen here real quick and then we'll get going. There we go. Can everybody see that okay? I'll get started. Okay. So yes, my name is Lynn Shaw and I am with Diversus Health and part of the COVID Spirit team. And we rolled out this program to support people in our community through the COVID-19 pandemic. So our goal as the Colorado Spirit team is to help people, especially with their mental health or things that are going on, try to help manage the things that are popping up for people. So today we're going to be talking about anxiety and stress management and how we can take care of ourselves during the COVID-19. So to start with, I want to, my slide works. Okay. I want to first talk about what is stress, right? So stress is a feeling of emotional or physical tension, and it can come from any event or thought that makes you feel frustrated, angry, or nervous. So stress is our body's reaction to a challenge or a demand. In short bursts, stress can really be positive, right? So it can help us avoid danger, it can help us meet a deadline, something like that. But when you have a lot of stress over a long period of time, that's when we start becoming a little concerned. So let's talk about that. So stress versus anxiety, since we're going to be talking about both of those. Stress is externally generated. So it's usually something that is happening to you. You have a deadline that you have to meet. You have project going on that you're really trying to get done. You have a test you have to take. Those kind of things cause stress to us, right? Anxiety is usually internally generated, and it's the thoughts that we have that cause us anxiety. Stress generally happens in the present. Anxiety is future oriented. So we're worried about what's going to happen in the future, things that we don't know might come about yet. So I'm nervous that I might not be able to pay my bills. I'm nervous. I'm getting anxiety because I'm not sure if I can get through that test. So it's kind of that futuristic look at things. And then stress is generally situational. Anxiety feels more personal. It's almost like you're not sure about yourself. And so anxiety, you can get a lot of anxiety with that. So stress is kind of in the moment, and anxiety tends to spread itself over time. And then what's interesting about stress and anxiety is that they are physiologically indistinguishable when you're having symptoms of stress and anxiety. And so the reason I want to share this slide with you is because I feel like it's really important that we are aware for ourselves, the maybe warning signs, if you want to say, about what might be going on with us. And if we start noticing these things about us, it might have us wonder, I wonder if I'm having more stress or if I'm feeling a little bit more anxiety, and maybe I need to do something to help in those areas. So let's just talk these through really quickly. So in the behavioral area, you might notice that you have sleep problems, you might have increased conflicts, change in your eating, might cry more easily, you might want to avoid things more often, or you might get fidgety. Physically, you could notice that you're getting headaches, nausea, fatigue, shortness of breath, racing heart. And then emotionally, might be more irritable, angry, those mood swings, self-doubt, guilt, or that increased feeling of fear, doom, or hopelessness, like you're just really scared. And then cognitive behavior, so all of us have heard the new term, the COVID fatigue or the COVID fog. And that is real, because sometimes when we're anxious or we're feeling stressed about things, we start losing some of our judgment, maybe like poor concentration, loss of objectivity, difficult making decisions, difficulty setting priorities. So it's just important for you to have kind of an idea about what your baseline is and where you are normally. And then if that starts changing for you and you start noticing these things, it's a time to start thinking, is there something else going on, or is it maybe my stress and anxiety? And then as we go through this presentation today, we'll talk about some things we can do that can be helpful, that might be helpful to kind of, I'm calling it boost our mood and help us to feel better. All right, so let's just talk a little bit about how COVID has affected us, right? We had isolation, right? Everybody experienced some level of isolation during this time. We had change in our work, our home life. Maybe our health was affected. Our mental health could have been affected. A lot of people are experiencing more depression and anxiety based on the COVID experience. The news and the social media affected us this last couple of years. I used to say a year, and now we're at like 18 months or almost 2 years here. And then the uncertainty, right? Now we are kind of living in this place of uncertainty. We don't know what the future holds, or what if we're going to, when we're going to get through this, and the uncertainty. We have to wear masks. Do we have to social distance? Do we, what are the new rules going to be? All of those things. So we're all kind of living in that place. I'm going to open it up here for just a minute and have you guys jump in with me. How has COVID-19 affected you? Feel free to unmute if you want.
Yeah, I'll just say that, I was stuck at home, I couldn't go to my job, and I feel pretty blessed in the fact that, I think I was able to manage it a little bit better than others. I feel like I spent more time with my son, and although there was a ton of stress trying to teach him as well.
Right. Yeah. So there were a lot of parents who had to make that shift, right, from or sending their kids to school and then doing at-home learning, and then the going back and forth sometimes in some of the schools. And so, yeah, you're right there with a lot of people.
For me, I'll just share, I really miss just contact or connection with people. So being able to hug, being able to just be around people was pretty tough.
Mm-hmm.
There's also been just a lot of tension and conflict with my family that's sort of taken place throughout the political climate and everything that has been brought to life with COVID. So just a lot of extra stress and tension.
Yeah. Yeah, and those are all hard things that we've had to go through. And so just by saying all of those things, you can feel the stress and the anxiety just bringing them up, right? You just kind of feel that angst. And so hopefully as we go through this presentation, we'll come up with some ideas on how we manage through that. So what we're going to do, which I love this presentation, by the way, you guys, because what we're going to do is learn how to hack our hormones to cope with stress. So our hormones are chemicals that are produced by different glands in our body, but they travel through our bloodstream, acting as messengers and playing part of those processes. So they are there to help us regulate our mood. So certain hormones are known to promote feelings, including happiness and pleasure. So as humans, I guess, we have the ability to try to increase those chemical levels or those hormones to help us feel better. And so we're going to go through how that might work so that we can actually maybe, so we don't feel like we're stuck in the doom and gloom feeling, and that if we have a moment when we feel icky, that we'll have some tools that we can boost our mood. I'm just going to use the word boost, I guess, today, boost our mood. So we have our happiness hormones, and I'm just going to go through them here. So a lot of us have heard of dopamine, and dopamine is our feel-good hormone. This is the one that gives us the feeling of reward. We feel better if we feel rewarded. And so dopamine can make us feel good through feeling like we've been rewarded. Serotonin helps us regulate our mood. So this one helps us when we're asleep, appetite, digestion, learning ability, and our memory. Oxytocin is called our love hormone. And this one is the one that promotes trust, empathy, and bonding relationships. So what do you think happened over COVID when it was social distancing? We didn't have that contact. What do you think happened to our oxytocin levels? They went down, right? Yeah. So a lot of us were missing that, those chemicals in our system. And so that could be a little bit of why we felt a little bit more depressed than normal, or a little bit more anxious than normal, is because we were missing that oxytocin boost that sometimes we get from those hugs and those getting together with people in groups and things like that. And then we have our endorphins, and these ones are our natural painkiller. So they are produced to help us with our stress or any discomfort. So it could be physical pain, or it could even be emotional pain. So when we increase our endorphins, then we just, it helps with the pain. So let's go through and talk about some of these. Let's talk about the dopamine, the reward hormone first. So here we're going to figure out some ways that we can hack dopamine to help us feel better. So the first and foremost is good sleep, right? And easier said than done sometimes. So when you're feeling stressed or anxious, sometimes it's really hard to get good sleep. But what we know is that sleep is like the best anti-anxiety treatment there is. So if you have a good night's sleep, it can help so much with your anxiety. So there's things, you guys can Google this, there's things about sleep hygiene, you know, of how to get better sleep. And so a lot of those things are like, you know, sleeping in the dark, making sure your room is really dark, unplugging from technology an hour before bed, maybe a cool room. Apps can help, right? You can put on a meditation app or something to help get some sleep. So trying to figure out what works for you to help you get a good night's sleep is really important. Eating good foods. So we know also, right, that sugary foods and processed foods in the moment make us feel better, right? We like that feeling of a little instant rush, but over time, they really don't sustain us, and they're not really good at boosting our mood. So important to find foods that are helpful for boosting your mood through eating. Practicing self-care, being really intentional about what that looks like for you. And so I had this question the other day when I did this presentation, and they're like, but what if you don't have time for self-care? Like, I just don't have time to do self-care. And so my response was, well, what is your definition of self-care? I guess that's what we need to figure out first. So if you're thinking that you have to exercise an hour a day, or you have to do yoga, or you have to go get meditation or a massage, or those things, which are all great self-care things, but not maybe practical for your time schedule or your budget, then what else can you do that you can do that self-care? So things like deep breathing, you know, just sitting at your desk, deep breathing is good self-care. For me, it's drinking water, right? Because I'm not a very good water drinker. And so for me, if I just have my water beside me and drink a cup, I'm excited because I just took care of myself. That to me is my definition of self-care. Movement is hugely important. So if you're someone who's working at home and you're sitting at your computer for 8 hours a day, moving is super important. So you don't have to have an hour to move. You know, you can take your little 15-minute breaks and just go do something, you know, walk around your house, do some jumping jacks. I like to dance. You can turn on some music and dance around the house, whatever it looks like, but moving is hugely important. So just those little things that you can think of for self-care is really important. Did anybody think of completing a task? That is kind of cool too. So think about when you complete a task, what that does for you, right? And that's a really easy way to increase your dopamine, is to celebrate when you complete a task. Like, oh, I got that done, you know, I did that. So one of my favorite sayings, and then I'm going to say celebrating the small wins. So one of my favorite sayings is, it's inch by inch is a cinch, and by the yard it's hard. So when I see clear at the end of my yard, it looks like, oh, that's so hard to get through that time. But if I just go that inch by inch by inch by inch, eventually I get to my yard and I feel so much better. But I want to celebrate those inches along the way. So if it's the first thing is, my first thing is I just have to write my list. Yay, I did it. I did my first inch. I'm so proud of myself. And then I crossed off my first line on my list. Yay, I did it. And so you just celebrate your wins. And what am I doing? I'm boosting my dopamine and I'm feeling better. Okay, and then we just pick something out of each of these to go over when we go. But so cooking and enjoying food is really a nice one that you can do for for your mood. And so this just gives you some ideas of some healthy food that you can eat that will help boost your mood. And you can look this up too and do your own research, but there's a lot of information out there on mood and food and what foods make you feel better. But spicy foods, whoever thought of spicy foods, that's awesome, right? Yogurt, beans, eggs, meats, low fat content, high food and tryptophan, which is perfect for Thanksgiving coming up. We'll all be feeling good on Thanksgiving if we eat our turkey. And foods containing probiotics like yogurt, kimchi, sauerkraut, those kind of things. So just being conscientious of what you're eating will help as well. And then just to throw this in there, if you cook with someone and you do like a family meal together, something, you're also going to increase your oxytocin love hormones. And so you get a double whammy. You get your dopamine boost and your oxytocin boost all at once. So, all right, so let's talk about serotonin. This is our mood stabilizer. So these are things that we can do to help us when we feel heightened, like if we're feeling more anxious than normal, if we're feeling more, what do I want to say, more overwhelmed, if we feel like we can see that we're having like anger bursts or just getting more irritable. These are great things to help us kind of level out a little bit and not be so heightened. So listening to music is a good one, and everybody has their own taste and what makes them feel happy. So picking music that helps you feel better. Hobbies, everybody has hobbies. So trying to turn your focus from whatever's heightening you to a hobby. So it could be gardening, painting, I don't know, whatever anybody's hobbies are. Mindfulness, which we'll talk about a little bit here in a minute. Meditating, exercising, running, cycling, swimming. So we all know and have heard the science behind exercise and how good it is for you and how it can really increase those chemicals that can make you happy. And so exercise is a great way to do that. Sun exposure, being out in the sun. And I have to say, this year we've had a lot of opportunity for sun. You know, we're in the middle of November and we still have great sun. And so getting out in the sun is a super help for us as we're trying to increase our serotonin. Walking in nature and then journaling is another good way to do that. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about mindfulness here. So mindfulness is a mental state achieved by focusing one's awareness on the present moment, while calmly acknowledging and accepting one's feelings and thoughts and bodily sensations. So what I want to say on this slide really is that I'm talking about being happy and trying to boost your mood and everything, but it's also important that we acknowledge the feelings that we're having. So we don't want to just ignore when we're sad, when we're angry, those kind of things. So we want to be mindful about what we're really feeling. And the idea behind it is, so I'm sad and I'm wondering why I'm sad, and I'm going to kind of process it. I'm going to try to figure it out. But if I live in that sadness for too long, it's just going to make me feel worse, right? And then I might have some of those symptoms that we talked about in the beginning. I might start developing some physical issues, or I might start crying more or doing things. And so for me, I need to stop and acknowledge that I'm sad and what's making me sad, and then kind of move through it. And that's what these tricks are, is to try to help us not stay there forever. But it is important for us not to just breeze right past them and to be mindful of what's going on for us so that we know. So one of the things we can do is called stop. Really easy. So we're going to stop. We're going to take a breath. Just going to kind of observe, and then we're going to proceed. And we're going to do that inch by inch thing to help us not feel overwhelmed. So let's just do that real quick. Let's just stop. Take a deep breath. And just kind of observe around you, how you're feeling, what's going on for you. And then now we can proceed. Okay, good. All right, oh, you know what? Hang on just a second. I don't know if I hit the little button for the noise, guys, for the volume. Let me get back in here and share my screen again. I don't think I have the noise on here, you guys. Let's see if you hear it.
This mindfulness exercise is called 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And this is a great exercise to help bring you back to the present moment when you're starting to feel stressed out. This exercise helps you focus on your senses. So to get started, settle into your seat, chair, on your floor, wherever you are. Let's take a big team breath together, in through your nose, out through your mouth. I invite you to look around and notice 5 different objects that you see. Close your eyes or gaze down if that's more comfortable for you, and notice 4 different sounds. Bring your attention within. Notice 3 feelings or sensations you are experiencing right now. Now bringing your attention to your sense of smell. Notice 2 smells. You can use your hands or your shirt. Bringing your attention to your sense of taste. What do you notice? Let's everybody take a team breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. Slowly wiggle your toes and your fingers. Bring your attention back to the room. Remember that this exercise is good to help you when you're feeling stressed out, help you bring you back to the present moment. Just by noticing 5 things. Maybe notice 5 things that are the same color or 5 different shapes. 4 sounds. That'll help bring you back to the present moment and focus on what's in front of you. Congrats on taking time for yourself by practicing mindfulness.
Okay, good. So how did that feel, you guys? It's a really good way to ground ourselves when we do this. So when we're feeling that anxious or that angst, you can just take a moment and do your 5 senses, and just kind of ground yourself to the moment. All right, so here we're going to talk about oxytocin, our love hormone, which I love. So these are fun things. So like playing with a pet, right, is a really good way to increase the oxytocin. Holding hands with someone, hugging your family, gratitude is a really good way to increase that love hormone. And then giving a compliment. And what is interesting about giving a compliment is that it makes me feel good when I give you a compliment, but then you're feeling good because you got the compliment and received. So both people are able to increase their oxytocin levels to feel better. So let's talk just a little bit about gratitude, which gratitude is a really easy hack to boost your mood. So gratitude essentially is the quality of being thankful, readiness to show appreciation, and to return kindness. So I just came up with 5 little things you can do to increase your gratitude. Writing a gratitude letter to someone, telling them that you're thankful for them. A gratitude visit, going and seeing someone just to tell them that you're thankful for them. Journaling. So we talked about journaling a little while ago. And so journaling is a really, really good way to increase your gratitude. So you can gratitude, you've heard the same, like write 3 things a day that you're grateful for, something like that. But what happens in journaling increases your mood too, in the fact that you can write anything. So you can write about gratitude, but you can also use journaling to talk about how you're feeling. You can release some emotion. You can do all kinds of things. And you're really, really boosting your mood by journaling and being grateful. And then you can do gratitude meditation. So you can find a self-guided meditation like we just did, but based on gratitude, and it can help you walk through gratitude that way. And then a gratitude vision board, which I think is fun, is putting a board together of things that you're grateful for. So it might be a picture of your family. It might be your house because you're thankful for your house, a picture of your house. I like coffee, so I might have a cup of coffee on my board, you know, whatever it is that you're grateful for. And you have that vision board in front of you to remind you all day, like, oh yeah, I'm grateful. So the science behind gratitude is really fun. So in our brains, we have neural pathways, right? And we can, if we are in a negative space, we can train our brains to think negatively, and it forms these neural pathways through our brain. And so when we get into a situation, our brain will instantly go to negative because we've kind of trained our brains that way. Well, the same is true about gratitude. We can actually train our brains to think gratefully, and we can form these neural pathways in our brain so that we can think more positively or more gratefully as we go through our day. So through COVID, there's been a lot of negative maybe that has happened, right? We've had these situations, but I bet you there's also a lot of things we can be grateful for through our experience of COVID. And so if we started focusing on the things that we're grateful for that have come, like I think I heard Kay say it's been nice working from home, you know, that's something to be grateful for. And it's grateful that we can connect again, or you can just think of all the things that have happened that you're grateful for. So if you went into a meeting and you're kind of feeling negative, Nancy, you know, you want to just be negative about every little thing, you might want to do the stop and say, no, let me stop here a minute and think of something that I'm grateful for in this moment. And what you're essentially doing is training those pathways in your brain to think more gratefully. And so gratitude is a really fun free hack, easy, and it will boost your mood really easy. And I think of it as things like, what if you went to the grocery store, super busy, elbow to elbow people? It's not our favorite thing, right? We're in this crowded grocery store and we want to complain or we want to whine, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm here. I can't believe I have to wait 20 minutes in line to pay my bill. Or I could maybe go to my gratitude and say, oh, I am so lucky I'm here right now because I get to witness that mother over there playing with her little boy by the thing. Or I am so grateful that I have the money to pay for whatever it is I'm buying. You know, I'm so grateful that I have this opportunity. So you can try to change those thoughts, and what will happen for you then is that your mood will feel better and you'll feel more energized and better that way. Any questions about gratitude or any stories you guys might have that you want to share on gratitude? No? Okay, we'll keep moving along. All right, so now we're going to talk about endorphins. And endorphins are the painkiller hormones. So this is if you have physical pain or emotional pain. This can help you through those a little bit to help you feel better. So laughter is a great one, and we're going to talk a little bit more about laughter in a minute, but watching a comedy can really boost your mood. Exercise, again, is another good one. And then the essential oils. So essential oils are a calming, right? So if you use essential oils for their smell, then it can have a calming effect for you and help in that way. And then the same as a massage, right? The massage will help relax you. And did you think of dark chocolate? My favorite there too. Love dark chocolate. Okay. And then we're going to talk about laughter. So I love laughter. It's one of my favorite things. And this is my favorite hack of all time, you guys. So 8 reasons laughter is the best medicine is it's a natural painkiller. It strengthens your heart, wards off disease. It tones your abs. Who doesn't want toned abs, right? Although I laugh a lot and mine aren't that toned, but and boosts immunity, decreases blood pressure, banishes stress, and helps with our depression. So laughter can be used in so many different ways, but just tell you a little bit of a story here. So I years ago had gone through what's called laughter yoga, and I loved it. I loved doing laughter yoga. And then this last year, I had some pretty, what do I want to say, stressful time this last year, and literally almost had like what I would call a mental breakdown or an anxiety attack, and really struggled through my situation. And I met this woman during that time who started talking about laughter and how laughter can help you get through those times. And I had forgotten that I knew laughter helped. It had been so many years. And so I thought, oh, I should try this. But the science that she brought to it was that if you laugh 3 times a day for 2 minutes, so 2 minutes 3 times a day, it will actually change the chemistry in your brain. So the researcher that I am, I decided, okay, I'm going to put this to the test. And so for over 30 days, I laughed 3 times a day. And I would do it at my breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And not always 2 minutes, but close, but I would do it as long as I could. And I'm telling you, it is such a boost. It's a free boost. It's an easy boost, and it's beautiful. And think about doing it with another person too, right? If you do it with your kids, with your family, with your coworkers, it can literally raise your oxytocin levels. It makes good memories. I mean, there's so many good things about laughter. My opinion is it's a good thing to teach your kids. I'm teaching my grandkids that we just laugh for no reason. We just have fun and laugh, And so it's such a nice anxiety reliever. And so sometimes it's hard to laugh in the beginning. But the other interesting fact about laughter is that your mind does not know if it's a real laugh or not a real laugh. And so you can just even make it up, or I just did it at Halloween. I did a presentation and I said, and you could do your witch's cackle, and so you can do all kinds of different laughs. And so your brain doesn't know the difference, and it helps you to feel better. And one last story I will share here is that I worked with a nonprofit organization, and we talked about laughter, and they decided that they were going to utilize this for their staff. And so at every staff meeting, which I think is once a week for them, they started at the end of their meetings would show a funny video, and they as a staff would laugh together and leave their meeting feeling so much better. And so they would walk out and be good. Well, the executive director of that nonprofit decided, I'm going to take it a step farther, and I am going to anytime I see somebody laughing at work or doing things, I'm going to give them a high five or a kudos, because I want to see my staff laughing during the day, which is so counterintuitive of a professional atmosphere, right? And so what happened for his organization then is people are just happier. They feel better. They're working harder because they feel really supported. And so laughter can be a really easy, fun way to boost your mood and to bring it up. And so if you can encourage the people around you to laugh, it's a good thing. All right. And then these were just a few extra little tricks that we have. So you want to work on calming your body and mind first. This will help you not to have panic, hopefully. So of course, there's yoga that you can do. You could even stop for a minute and list the 50 states in alphabetical order, name colors that you see around you. Things that ground you are what are really helpful. Change your scenery. Maybe if you're in the middle of overwhelm at your desk, maybe it's just getting up and going outside for a second and coming back in, just to take that overwhelm away for a second. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with progressive muscle relaxation, but that's just being aware of the muscles in your body and just kind of going through your body. One way to do it is to tense them. So you could start with your feet, tense your feet, relax, tense your calves, relax them, your thighs, relax them, and just move your way up your body just to relax the muscles. Being aware of where you hold your tension. Where do I have to hold my tension? Mine's my shoulders and between my shoulder blades. And so trying to relax those more, so that you feel better. And then of course, sometimes stress and anxiety can be more than we can handle. So maybe we've tried all of these hacks, or maybe we don't even feel like we can do these hacks because our stress and anxiety is so much. So sometimes we need a little bit more support. And so that is where our team comes in at Colorado Spirit, and we're a good place to start. And so we help navigate what might help. And sometimes it might take more of a professional take on that, and we will help find that for you. And so just to let you guys know that that's out there. If you need any additional support, might be you just need somebody to talk to get it out. It might be you could call and we would breathe with you, whatever it is, we are there to support. So, all right, guys, that is my presentation here. And so any comments or thoughts that you guys are having?
This is such a season where we talk about gratitude, right? With Thanksgiving coming up. And I just love that reminder that this needs to be consistent, right? That's that tool that we can use no matter what time of year or what day it is. So thank you for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I just had a question about like these services. Are they free to the public?
Mm-hmm. They are free.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I just wanted to say like thank you for sharing like your stories, because I can relate more to when like I hear a story about something, and so I really appreciate all that. And it's always good to like have more tools in your toolbox to deal with stress and anxiety. So thank you.
You're welcome. And most of the stuff we know, right? We know that these things work, but we forget, we just forget that they're there for us. So when we have these conversations like today, just kind of gives us a reminder. And again, you can't do everything I just said today, right? There were so many things, but you can do your next inch. What's my next inch that I want to do? I'm going to pick one thing to put in my day today that might be helpful, And I just remember too, the other thing I didn't really talk about a lot is breathing, and breathing is a huge thing. And so that is also an instant, easy way to calm ourselves, right? We can just stop and like take 3 deep breaths in and out. Takes little or no time, but it does help us feel better. So just trying to switch our gears when that overwhelm comes in. What are some things that we can do to feel better? Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Lynn. I know I was thinking with the gratitude, yeah, you're at the store, it's busy, maybe they don't have what you want, but you're able to be there. Like you said, you have the money to buy what you need, those kind of like reframing
right
that experience, is really, really, especially this time of year, with the stores are busy, everyone's buying the same thing, trying to get their shopping done, so that's really great this time of year.
Well, and I had a lady one time tell me that sometimes she would be kind of in a funk and she would go to the store and she would just decide to smile at everybody. And so as she went through the store, she would smile, and she goes, but by the time she got out of the store, she felt so good because again, the smile is just like laughing. It just instantly boosts your mood. But the other thing is that it also made her feel like she was helping someone else. Like I was giving them a smile, and so instead of it becoming this chore, it almost became a purpose for her. Like, I'm going to go into the store, I'm going to give these people smiles, and it's my whole purpose to make their day, and so she had totally changed the way shopping was for her, because before it had been this overwhelm, and now she's able to make it more of a mission almost, so yeah, so those are fun ways to think about it. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. There's so much information. I was taking notes the whole time. So we'll be
and this will be on YouTube for a while.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. I'll put the recording up so it will be accessible. But thank you so much. This was an awesome, awesome presentation and such a good time of year to have it. Yeah. So yeah, thank you so much. Thank you all for joining us. You have a great day.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks.